It's fair to say that by now we are all feeling the effects of the world that we live in right now, of this world that is burning around us. It is so full of energetic tension, and you are probably feeling that in every part of your life, and especially in your soul, in your heart, and it feels inescapable. And today I want to give a little glimpse of hope so that maybe you feel a tiny bit better at the end of this video. Because we are so full of hopes and dreams for a better future on the one hand, and on the other hand, there is the vision of a future full of even more oppression, of terrible, despicable ideas of war and division. And those two futures are very real for us right now. You are probably perceiving both of them at the same time, and you are feeling the energetic tension that that brings into your body. And it's no wonder that you feel stuck in life right now, probably. It's no wonder that you're unsure what to do next, because we are handling this very delicate, weird tension every single day of our lives, because we cannot escape it anymore. We are in a pressure cooker where things are going to change, and we are at this point where it's like, is it going this way or is it going this way? And just trying to survive, and on top of that, maybe feeling stagnant in your spirituality, feeling stagnant in your witchcraft, in your beliefs, that only makes it more difficult, because you probably didn't go on this spiritual path to equip yourself to deal with this world. And you might feel ill-equipped spiritually, physically, and all of those things. And in this video, I really want to show you that you know more than you might think. You are more than you might realize. And I want you to go out with a feeling of hopefulness and a new inspiration for your spirituality, whether you're a witch or something else, believe anything. I believe that this video exists so that you can feel more secure and more comforted by your spirituality again. And this path that you're on is probably about healing yourself, about getting to know parts of you that you didn't know yet. And now everything with the whole world being the way it is feels more real. It feels like, does my spirituality even have a place in that? Why am I just looking at myself all the time? Am I just self-reflecting? Am I being selfish? What can I do to make the world better that is burning around me? And you might be feeling like stagnant, or like you're not on the right path with your spirituality. And I want to give you the certainty that just because you're feeling insecure right now doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. With so many TikTok witches and non-TikTok witches as well converting to Christianity, sometimes we feel like, well, once some belief doesn't work out, I'll just do the next thing, and I will look for security in religion or in more firm, spiritual boundaries to feel like I have something to hold on to. But honestly, I've been doing this work offline and online since 2017, and I can tell you that being spiritual, connecting with the divine, connecting with the seasons, connecting with your core, connecting with everything isn't smooth sailing, and it's never going to be. Whether you are Christian, Muslim, a witch, or anything else on this planet, if you are a spiritual person that truly wants to grow their soul, it's never going to be easy and smooth sailing unless you hand your fate into someone else's hands, which doesn't work out either way. But that's a different topic. So if you're forging your own path rather than following a path that is forged by someone else for you, rather than just listening to what others say, it's really a journey of ups and downs. And I want to ensure you that it's okay to have ups and downs in your spirituality. It doesn't always mean you're on the wrong path. It means it might need some tweaking. I'm not a native speaker. I just want to put that out there. If weird words come out, that's why. And I just want to walk a little part of the way with you today, hold you by the hand, and just encourage you a little bit. I've put together some statements of belief that I think are valuable to myself, that help me live in this world a little bit easier that is so full of tension. And I will speak some hope into you in this video and on this little journey that we're taking together. That is all I want to do, and I hope you stay and listen to this. Because I think that existing between these tensions is easier if you have some sort of anchor to hold on to, because it's really easy to drift into old patterns. We've existed in this world for probably decades. If you're watching this, I assume you're older than 20, if you're not high. But we've existed in this old system for so long that it's so easy to fall back into it. And I think spirituality, witchcraft, or all kinds of other spirituality can be a beautiful anchor to remind us that there's more than this system we currently live in, and we don't have to go back to our old patterns that used to work for us. Those patterns of, I just need to function and everything will be fine. I just need to work hard enough and everything will be okay. I just need to take off everything on my to-do list and then I can relax and everything will be fine. Those are things that we've taken from this system that we grew up in, from capitalism, from having to function, having to earn money, having to purchase things that mean nothing to us, but we are being told that they mean something, and all of these things. And it's really easy to fall back into those patterns. So the things that I speak about in this video are things that I remind myself of when I notice that I'm going back into those patterns. When I've lived in the real world for a little bit too long, everything feels a little bit too real, too stressful, too anxiety-inducing, so that I can just connect back to myself and not forget this whole spiritual side of my life, essentially. Honestly, now that I've quit my job to focus on my spirituality and also these creations so fully, that doesn't really happen anymore. But I certainly do know the feeling until a month ago of being sucked into a 9-to-5 job or any other job that you might have that has even longer hours, being sucked into that, being sucked into your everyday duties and forgetting your core, forgetting your spirituality. And that is exactly what I want to bring back. I want to bring back that numinous feeling of spirituality being something that truly supports you and holds you by the hand. Not something where you're like, I don't have time for that. That is unimportant. What is important right now is the real world. It's really easy to throw away your practice if you don't really see the benefit in it. And capitalism has taught us not to see the benefit in it. This whole system has taught us the benefit of hard work, of productivity, of being a good little cog in the machine. And it hasn't taught us the value of spirituality, of inner work, of sitting with yourself, of changing your own energy and changing the energy around you. Those are things that are not valued by and large in this system. And that is what I want to bring you back to. And I hope you're already feeling a little fire lighting inside of yourself. So we're going to get into that. So the first thing that I remind myself of, the first belief is that real world problems don't always require real world answers. Real world problems don't always require real world answers. Now that might sound a little delusional. Don't get me wrong. A lot of what we're dealing with in this world needs real change and real life solutions. However, if you're someone who struggles with anxiety, with thinking, I just need to do this one more thing and then I can relax, then it can be very helpful for you. And for me personally, it is so helpful. If I sit there with my to-do list, with all of the expectations hovering around my head of what I need to be doing and should be doing to make this world a better place, I remind myself that I am enough and that I cannot find real world answers to every real world issue that I am in contact with, whether it's about my own life or the world at large. Am I saying if you can't pay your rent, just do a spell and boom, you will be able to? No, I'm not saying that. Am I saying though that sometimes it can be more helpful than you think to go into spirituality, to go into spell work, to go into your own magic, to remind yourself of your own magic when you're facing a real world problem? Yes, I am saying that. I am saying that sometimes meditation or simply sitting with your feelings and asking for support from whatever entities you believe in that have your highest good as their agenda, that can be a door opener, a road opener for new pathways that you didn't think of before. So when you are facing a real world problem, next time you do, and everything just feels a little bit too real, try and see what your spirituality can do to support you in it. Not just, the most direct to-dos that you can do. Because at the end of the day, there's a lightness that comes when we remove ourselves from our everyday problems a little bit and walk a spiritual route. And if you felt that before, you will know what I mean. If you have never felt that before, you're probably sitting here like, no, I just have to deal with everything as the system tells me to, like A, B, C, D are the solutions and I need to take those steps. Sure. I'm not saying the real world doesn't exist and real world solutions don't exist. They do. But spirituality is another route that can be surprisingly helpful. And by surprisingly helpful, I mean monumentally helpful without you ever expecting it. While you're thinking that you just need to tackle something in the real world, people are out here doing spells, meditating, engaging with their spirituality, engaging with their deities, and feeling good about it. And maybe they solve the issue the same way that you do, but they're doing it with more calm, with more trust, with more peace. And peace is something that is hard to come by in the system that we live in, with all the expectations that it instills in us and all of the new pressures and all of the change that is coming. So any moment of peace that you can get that makes you able to act in alignment is great. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is more related to your identity. And that is that there is more to you than just your real life responsibilities. There's more to you than these to-do lists. And you are, in the end, endless possibilities. You are one with all, and if you had told me that 20 years ago, I would have been like, blah, 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 blah. That means nothing. That's a platitude. It's not a platitude. Once you actually feel it, that knowledge can fuel you to be able to engage with your creativity, to dare to make changes that you wouldn't have made before, to show you parts of your identity that you never knew existed. It opens new pathways. That is what your spirituality does for you if you really make space for it and engage with it. And I know it feels like in this world, all of the issues are so real that you just need to focus on that. But that's not all there is. That's not all there is. And that is why I make this content, because on the one hand, I want to empower people to remember their core, who they are, their spirituality, their soul, their creativity, while also bringing more justice into the world, because we all can do that. I trust that we can all do that. And if you want to get to know more spiritual sides of yourself, if you feel stuck and you're saying, my identity feels super tied to the real world right now, I have created some more resources on my Patreon for this. If you want to go deeper, I've created affirmations, journaling prompts, and a personal video essay where I go also a little bit more personal into this that can help you tune more into that frequency of, oh, I'm more than my to-do list, I'm more than my tasks. And it's on my Patreon. I will link that below. I'm not going to yap on about it too long, but it's really a joy for me to help people unlock more perspectives and go even deeper into this topic. You know, hearing parts of you that might be calling, but you're not hearing them yet. And we can unlock those together. You can also do that on your own, but I'm very happy if you do it with me on Patreon. Okay, but enough of that. Enough sponsoring my own video, essentially. I want to get to the third thing, and that is that spirituality, this is a very important belief. If you don't believe that, I understand why you're throwing away your spirituality. Spirituality brings clarity when all you can see is just logic and just rationalism and just whatever this system has taught you to believe in. If you don't believe that spirituality brings you that clarity, then I don't know what to tell you. But that is an important belief. And you can write it in your journal, take out a pen, so you really believe this. And maybe there is a part of you that doesn't believe it. As I said, maybe there's a part of you that's like, well, it's a waste of time. I have enough real world issues to deal with. And I don't need to look for even more issues within myself, or within spirituality, within the energies that surround me. I have enough things that I have to take care of, and that's fair enough. But don't underestimate the clarity that spirituality brings you as you are wading through all of your responsibilities in this world. Because I want to make it so clear that spirituality isn't just escapism. It can be if you are on the toxic positivity train, if you are ignoring everything around you and you're like, only love and light exists and I don't care about anything else. Yes, then spirituality is a form of escapism. But the sort of spirituality and witchcraft and shadow work that I teach on here is not that. It opens pathways, and it's so sad when people throw all of that in the same pot, because there's enough love and light only, toxic positivity, spiritual bypassing people out there who try to control that narrative and just tell people ignore everything that's bad and you'll be okay. When in truth, you are closing so many doors if you just engage with the positive aspects of the world, of yourself, because you're missing the center of yourself. You're missing sitting with yourself, getting to know your core. That is such a beautiful thing, even if it's not always easy. Getting to know your feelings, feeling them, not just journaling, but feeling your feelings, digging deep. And that work really benefits everyone around you. It's not toxic individualism of just focusing on the self. It's something that empowers you to change the world in ways that you didn't think were possible before at the end of the day, if you do this work right. And then fourthly, another belief and another core-centric thing to my spirituality is that spirituality can help you transform your relationship with the system. Because the relationship with the system, what is it like right now? Think for a second to yourself. You could also write it in the comments if you want to, or anything else. What is your relationship with the system that we live in like? It's probably a bit of a toxic relationship where the system is telling you only if you do XYZ, you will be rewarded. Only if you do XYZ, everything is going to work out for you. And spirituality and realizing that there is more to you and more to all of us than just what the eye sees and just our responsibilities and just our to-do lists, that helps you see yourself not as a part of the system, a little cog in the system. You know, your job is your identity. Who are you? I am my job. I am what I do. And spirituality helps you to not see yourself as such a part of the system, but as seeing yourself existing within the system. And it widens your scope. You know, you suddenly see you have free will in a lot more ways than you think. Yes, the system with rent, with responsibilities, with jobs, with having to buy groceries, that is a reality that you live in for sure. But don't be a slave to that reality. And I know that sounds delusional in some ways, where it's like, well, but I have to pay all of these things. And yes, you do. But when I was still working my full-time job, even then, I was grappling with this exact disillusionment of, I just have to work to get money. Every day is dominated by 8 hours of work. And then I realized, as soon as I introduced spiritual elements of meditating in the morning, speaking affirmations into my tea, having morning rituals with skincare, all of these things gave my day back to me. And that is the beauty of our brains. Our brains focus on the thing that you do first in the day. And if the first thing you do is work, sure enough, your whole day is work, your life is work, your brain is like, yeah, work. You're focusing on that so much. That must be real important. But at the end of the day, if you give your brain more like spirituality, like witchcraft, like a practice of meditation or a practice of doing daily glamour spells or anything else that lights up your soul, you're going to be able to feel like your life belongs to you and not to the system. And that doesn't mean we don't have to criticize the system, but it means that you can make your life a little bit easier existing in this current system that we live in. And what capitalism does to us is it makes us feel like we are on this treadmill of work, buy things, work more, sleep, find relationships that we feel proud of, maybe that we can present to the outside world and show how well we are working and how well adjusted we are and how successful we are in life. And that hurts us. We exist in a system that hurts us daily by taking away our core. And you can reclaim that with spirituality, with witchcraft. So I feel like I'm selling you something like, start your practice today, just $9.99. But that's the best thing about it. Your spiritual practice is free. Nobody has to tell you what you do in your practice. You can build that yourself. There's so much free content by me and by so many other wonderful creators about witchcraft, about spirituality. So follow me if you want to, plug. And there's also paid content if you want to do that. There's books out there. There's wonderful Patreons like my own. There's courses. Find what resonates with you and expand your spiritual capability. It will make your life so much better in seen and unseen ways. And it's not about, functioning better in the system. It is about stepping away from the system in a small way so that it becomes easier to see more of yourself and less of just, I am a functioning adult. That is so unmagical. We're more than functioning adults. We're wonderful, miraculous, spiritual beings, And reminding yourself of that every day will do monumental good for you. Monumental good. I could go on forever about this because my spiritual practice has given me so much over the years. And having lived a life for decades as well, that was not necessarily aligned, that was mostly about survival, that was about supporting myself and people that were dependent on me and just functioning for that system, has brought me to a place where I realize that that's not something you can do for 5 more decades or however long we're all living. And that it's time to open new doors. And that's what spirituality is for. It makes me happy speaking about this. I mean, obviously, I make these videos, so of course it makes me happy. But I feel so good, and I hope I could impart some of that energy on you. Let me know in the comments if this little journey was helpful for you, if this little exploration, energetic, spiritual journey that we just went on with words was helpful to you. I would be so honored if you check out my Patreon, check out my YouTube membership if you want to support all of this free content that I create and get access to even more content from me as well. So thank you so much for being here. I'm sending you so much love. I feel like the words are streaming out of me and I just want to keep talking about how great the effects of spirituality and witchcraft are, but I'm going to zip it. I will leave the rest to your imagination, to your little typing hands in the comments if you want to. And I hope that I could inspire you and give you a newfound fire in your soul for your spiritual path. Okay, thank you.